Global Affairs editor Laura Tingle is with me in the studio now. Hi there, Laura. So is it safe to say this meeting was a success for Anthony Albanese and the whole relationship with the US?
A screaming success, I'd say, Ros. I mean, if you think about the context where the coalition always thinks it's got a better relationship with the Americans, that there's been so much pressure on Anthony Albanese about the fact he hasn't had a meeting until now. He's walked away not only with this deal on rare earths, but positive signs on AUKUS, and being told he's the best yet as well, because everybody seems to think that popularity of prime ministers is more important than the significant bits.
So on to AUKUS. Then the president was asked whether he saw it as a deterrent against China. Let's take a listen to what he said.
Yeah, I do. I think it is, but I don't think we're going to need it. I think we'll be just fine with China. China doesn't want to do that. I don't see that at all with President Xi. I think we're going to get along very well as it pertains to Taiwan and others. Now, that doesn't mean it's not the apple of his eye, because probably it is, but I don't see anything happening. We have a very good trade relationship.
What do you make of that response, Laura?
I think it's really fascinating, Ros. I mean, it hasn't got a lot of attention, but the China hawks in Australia, of course, most alarmed about the prospect of conflict over Taiwan. Now, if you were at the Taiwanese and you saw Mr. Trump saying that today, you'd probably be a bit nervous. But certainly, President Trump, I don't think, when you look back at what he's been saying over the last 10 months since he came back to the White House, it's all about trade. It's not about China's ambitions in the region, putting it, taking it up to China about its ambitions in Taiwan. So essentially, the former Prime Minister Paul Keating last week described President Trump as a peacenik to James Curran in the Financial Review, and I think it's interesting. I mean, I don't think that geostrategic issue has really been front of mind for him. Now, it's going to be, because he's coming to the region in the next week for meetings of ASEAN and APEC and in Japan, but certainly he's not talking about taking it up to the Chinese on Taiwan, and he's certainly talking down the prospect of the Chinese doing anything unattractive as well.
Onto the critical minerals deal then. What does that mean for the partnership with the US and competitors like China?
Well, it is really significant. I mean, we have tended to see ourselves in strategic terms purely as a defence partner with the US. This issue of critical minerals and rare earths is absolutely, front of mind to the Americans now. It's become this huge play with China. China's just recently announced a big ban on exporting processed minerals to other countries. That's got really serious implications strategically and economically for the US and the rest of the world. Last week they were talking about the G7 ganging up on China to do something about this. Here we are in the box seat, and it's really interesting that as we saw in that grab from the Prime Minister, they're talking about $1 billion of investment in the next 6 months. This isn't something just vague. This is really serious stuff, and it really puts us in an interesting position with the US and the rest of the world.
We haven't seen any movement on the issue of the steep tariffs on things like steel and aluminium. The opposition says that's a failure on the government's part. What do you make of that?
Look, I don't think there was ever going to be a movement. The only reason that President Trump has given for pulling back on some of the really excessive tariffs we've seen, for example, in Vietnam, there's been a sudden move to have a Trump golf course in Vietnam, and that's reduced tariffs there. But essentially, the Americans are saying we have got the absolute lowest tariffs, and they're not going to be moving anywhere from there.